Hello, we've had a long history on this channel of supporting Julian Assange, and I'm absolutely disgusted. It is heartbreaking, the news that's just come in today. A court has ruled that Julian can be extradited to America. So I corresponded with Julian when he was holed up in the embassy, sent him a copy of my jail memoir, Hard Time, saying, I hope you never end up in a place like this, in an American prison. And he read it and he wrote back and he gave me some direction to try and raise support with him, especially through people writing to the politicians. However, it has all been completely futile. They've had his card marked from day one. A journalist whose reporting has been 100% accurate. Everything he put out there, 100%, not the BS we see from all these mainstream media channels. So that's what you get. You go and report on things that upset the wrong people, you can basically kiss goodbye to your life, because Julian, holed up now in an American prison for the rest of his life. Doesn't matter which president comes in power, there's an agenda, and it's basically slow suicide for him from here on out. I mean, at one point they were calling for him to be drowned. They were calling for the death penalty. So he's absolutely got nothing coming whatsoever if he ends up in the US prison system, which is absolutely disgusting. So I'll just read the headline that's come in today. It's been ruled he can be extradited from the UK to the US. This is the High Court has ruled that in this country. The US has won its appeal against the January UK court ruling that he could not be extradited due to concerns of his mental health. I mean, look at the way he's deteriorated, isn't it enough? And one of the things that made me sick was one of the previous judges said that, look at all the money it's cost to police him in the embassy, and it's cost absolutely millions, and they blame that on Julian. No, you shouldn't have been policing the embassy in the first place, because he shouldn't have been in the embassy in the first place. The millions you guys have spent, the authorities have spent on this case, is on your own heads. He should not have been in this situation in the first place. So judges were reassured by US promises to reduce the risk of suicide. Absolutely meaningless. They'll say anything to get him over there. Like they're going to reduce his risk of suicide. How on earth are they going to do that? His fiancée said they intend to appeal. So he's wanted in the US over the publication of thousands of classified documents in 2010, 2011. If you've watched that video, Collateral Murder, exposing the absolute evil of dropping bombs on the poorest countries in the world just so that huge corporations with connections to Bush and Cheney and Halliburton, all these parasitic entities, can just make billions at the taxpayers' expense. Senior judges found the lower judge had based their decision in January on the risk of Mr. Assange being held in highly restricted prison conditions if extradited. Of course he will. You think the US prison conditions are not going to be highly restrictive for someone this high profile? They're going to jack him up into the supermax level from the get-go. However, the US authorities later gave assurances that he would not face those strict measures unless he committed an act in the future that merited them. So there you go. We'll promise some pie in the sky, just hand him over, and then it's too late, because we'll be able to do whatever we want to him once we've got our dirty hands on him. So, given the judgment, Lord Chief Justice Lord Burnett said, that risk is in our judgment excluded by the assurances which are offered. No, the whole system is rigged. He didn't stand a chance, and you guys are just using semantics to accommodate the Americans who are going to put Julian away for the rest of his life. It's basically a slow murder. It follows that we are satisfied that, if the assurances had been before the judge, she would have answered the relevant question differently. No, we're just going to put our twist on it, get his ass sent over there, because no one's going to get in the way of the true huge agenda. You expose what we are doing, you are going to sacrifice your life for that. And that is a warning to all the other journalists out there reporting on things, trying to get in deep at the forefront of certain cases. Julian is an example. He's been martyred, basically. And they want all the other journalists out there reporting on certain cases to take heed of this, because it could happen to them. There's things way worse than losing your YouTube channel. All right, so Assange's fiancée, Stella Morris, called the ruling dangerous and misguided. Couldn't agree more. WikiLeaks editor-in-chief Kristin Hrafnsson said, Julian's life is once more under grave threat, and so is the right of journalists to publish material that governments and corporations find inconvenient. How true. This is about the right of a free press to publish without being threatened by a bullying superpower. Yes, well said. The US had offered 4 assurances, including that Mr. Assange would not be subject to solitary confinement pre or post-trial or detained at the ADX Florence Supermax jail if extradited. Well, yeah, ADX Florence Supermax is intense, but they've got prisons all over America, equally intense, if not even more horrific, because the conditions are absolutely unbearable. Lawyers for the US said he would be allowed to transfer to Australia to serve any prison sentences he may be given closer to home. Yeah, love how they promise all these things, and then once they get their hands on you, forget about it. Lawyers for the US said, and they argued Mr. Assange's mental illness does not even come close to being severe enough to prevent him from being extradited. Lawyers representing Assange argued the assurances over his future treatment were meaningless and vague. Exactly. If convicted in the US, Assange, now 50, faces a possible penalty of up to 175 years in jail. I know how that feels, and I've sent him the book, the guidelines for navigating the federal prison system book. Can't remember the exact title, but it's something along those lines. Hopefully Julian will receive that book and it won't get nabbed by the staff. The US government said the sentence was more likely to be between 4 and 6 years. Yeah, they say that to get you over there. Terrible. Assange faces an 18-count indictment from the US government accusing him of conspiring to hack into US military databases to acquire sensitive secret information relating to the Afghan and Iraq wars, which was then published on the WikiLeaks website. He says the information exposed abuses by the US military. Hello? You watched Collateral Murder lately? Obscene. They're killing people like it's a video game, just cackling and joking. US prosecutors say the leaks of classified material endangered lives, and so the US sought the extradition from the UK, but they've not been able to show what lives were endangered. That's just a sweeping statement. Extradition is the process under which one country can ask another to hand over a suspect to face trial. And the UK generally hands everybody over. I think there was one kid, a hacker, who had some mental disorder who got a pass. So Assange was jailed for 50 weeks in May 2019 for breaching his bail conditions after going into hiding in the Ecuadorian embassy. He sought refuge in the embassy for 7 years, from 2012 until he was arrested in 2019. Good grief, 7 years in an embassy. At the time he fled to the embassy, he had been facing extradition to Sweden on allegations which he denied, and the case was later dropped. And that is how they get you. You're an honest person. You're reporting on things that the powers that be don't want you to report on. So what happened in Sweden, they made it sound like he had nasty charges of a sexual nature. That is the way they destroy people's reputations, credibility, and try and turn the court of public opinion against people. And I remember when those allegations first came out, and there was a lot of heated arguments online, but the case was later dropped. So the case was later dropped, but they got so many weapons in their arsenal, using the court system to protect the most powerful interests, and that's what we're seeing here today. So I'm absolutely, really wish there was more we could do right now for Julian, because to sacrifice your life like that and to end up in the US prison bloody system for reporting honestly, what has the world come to? If all you can report is absolute garbage to distract the masses, otherwise you're looking at a possibility of life in prison. So yeah, I mean, it's horrible. I'm sure many of you are going to be equally disgusted as I am. So please let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you think he's got a prayer of an appeal, and what do you think is going to happen to him if he does end up in the US prison system? Is the US going to uphold all these promises? They're going to prevent him from committing suicide. He's only going to get 4 or 5 year sentence. Blah, blah, blah. We'll transfer him back to Australia. He's going to have a good old time. What do you think about that? So, thanks for watching this video. Next podcast is Wild Woman Part 2, Sunday, 1 p.m. UK. Hope you enjoy. And many of you enjoyed the RFK assassination video we put out last night with Tim Tate. So, a huge thank you for all the positive feedback on that one. Take care out there. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye-bye.